Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Good evening everyone and good morning everyone. Welcome to Monday's Sutta discussion. Today is day 87. The title of the talk tonight is The Body is Not Yours, but is all karma generated by choices in past lives. And I have highlighted a couple words in the title itself. They are Kammang Abhisankhatang, Abhisanchetaitam, Vedaitam, Dattabam. So we will be looking at what those Pali words mean in the context of in the context of this particular sutta. Now, as the topic itself, says, the body is not yours. This is what Buddha says to us, but is all karma generated by choices in past life. So, what are the choices? Choices basically mean Abhisaṅkhāra. So, for those who are not familiar with this term called Abhisaṅkhāra, today I will be discussing about the meaning of Abhisaṅkhāra in regard to Sankhara. So Sankhara and Abhisaṅkhāra has a difference. So we will be looking at the difference, intersection between these two words called Pali words called Sankhara and Abhisaṅkhāra. So the sutta's name is Natumha, and the sutta appears in the Samyutta Nikaya 12.37. So which means under the Kalara Kattiya Vagga. There was a monk called Kalara Kattiya, and this particular chapter, which is under Samyutta Nikaya, is named as the Kalara Kattiya Vagga. Anyways, Tumha means you, Na means no, so Natumha means not yours. Okay, we'll take a look at the Pali text of the sutta. Savatya. So the sutta was delivered at Savatthi, which is the capital city of Kosala. Nayang bhikkhave kayo tumhakang napi anyesam. Okay, so the first thing that we need to understand is the Buddha says, monks, this body doesn't belong to you or to anyone else. So what it basically says is that this body and the body of anyone is not belong to those particular individuals. Okay, not belong to oneself, no, to other people. But Purana midang bhikkhave kammang abhisankhatang abhisanchetaitam vedaitam tatthava. It's all deeds, all karmas, and should be seen as produced by choices and intentions as something to be felt. So what are the choices? I would see a better word called karmic formations to be Abhisaṅkhāra. So basically what it means is Abhisaṅkhāra, kind of a past participle in grammar, Abhisaṅkhāra. So which means you got your body because of the conditioning process of the karmic formation. So you are karmically formed. Abhisaṅkhāra means karmically formed. Abhisancheta itang. Not even that. You were karmically formed because you had intentions towards those particular old karmas. So karmas won't produce without intention, right? So we call karma an action with intention, right? Volition. So this body is belong to all the past karmas, and because of the past karmas, what kind of past karmas? The past karmas which are produced by Abhisaṅkhāras, which means karmic formations, as well as Abhisanchetaitam. So you were able to obtain this body because of the karmic formation supported by intentions as something to be, and there is another part of this Abhisaṅkhāra, which means there is a nature of feeling. So every Abhisaṅkhāra has a nature of feeling. We will be looking at all that after we finish reading the sutta. Tatrako bhikkhave sutava arya savako paticca samuppadanche paticca samuppadang neva sadhukam yoniso manasikaroti. Okay. So now Buddha's advice to the monks is that Sutava Arya Savako. This is kind of a frequent word that we see in many suttas, in most of the suttas. Buddha sort of alludes to a person who is called Sutava Arya Savako. Sutava means learned, Arya Savako means noble disciple. So we all need to be Sutava Arya Savaka. We need to be a learned, noble person. Okay? Noble disciple, Savaka. So who is a learned? Sutava means we should all listen to more Dhamma. Dhamma talks. We should listen to Dhamma. We should also listen to Abhidhamma. And we should have this listening, ability, and then we all have that ability, but we need to bring that that ability into action, so that we'll continue listening to Dhamma talks. We'll be reading, and all that information will make us a learned person, right? But simply being learned will make nothing. But it is a good start. It is the beginning of your inner journey to Nibbana, right? At least Sotapanna. So now we all need to become learned Arya Savaka. I would say learned noble disciples, Sutava Arya Savaka. So when you are a learned noble disciple, then what you need to do? Paticca samuppadang neva sadhukam yoniso manasikaroti. How many of you thought about that? You need to, reflect. You need to look at the dependent origination, the process of becoming with wise attention. Yoniso manasikara. Normally, people know yoniso manasikara means, seeing things as they are, which primarily, deals with vipassana process. But here, it is clear that Buddha asked monks to look at this dependent origination, which is called Paṭisamuppada, with yoniso manasikara, wise attention. So this wise attention is a must. How should a disciple see that? A learned, noble disciple carefully and properly attends, which means wise attention, in other words, we call yoniso manasikara, to dependent origination itself. So there's a kind of a shortcut to this whole 12 compartments of the 12 components of Paṭisamuppada, this way, in 4 ways. When this exists, that is. Due to the arising of this, that arises, the second. When this doesn't exist, that is not, the third. Due to the cessation of this, that ceases. That is, ignorance is a condition for Abhisaṅkhāras, right? It clearly says, Tatrako bhikkhave sutava arya savako paticca samuppadang neva sadhukam yoniso manasikaroti. Iti imasmin sati idang hoti. Imassuppada idang uppacchati. Imasmin asati idang nahoti. Imassa nirodha idang nirucchati. Yadidang avidya paccaya sankhara, sankhara paccaya viññānaṁ, etc. etc. Eva metassa kevalassa dukkha khandassa samudayoti. It will end up with jati jara marana and all that, right? And then this is the origin of the mass suffering called dukkha khanda, not dukkha. Dukkha is what we understand by jati pi dukkha, jara, jati pi dukkha, jara, so and so forth. But when you say mass suffering, it is not the birth is suffering, it is not the sickness is suffering, but it is the suffering which you call through the dependent origination. And then the reverse process, when someone understands the 12 components of the Paṭisamuppada, avijjāyatteva sesa viraga nirodho, sankhara nirodha, sankhara nirodho, sankhara nirodha, viññāna nirodho, evametassa kevalas dukkha khandasa nirodho. So, that is how this entire mass of suffering. When ignorance fades away and ceases with nothing left over, and sankhara cease. When sankhara cease, consciousness called viññāna ceases. That's how this entire mass of suffering ceases. Okay, so my attempt in this sutta is to tell you primarily the difference between Sankhara and Abhisankhara. Now Buddha says that this body does not belong to me, and your bodies do not belong to you. And Buddha says this body belongs to all karmas that were karmically formed with the support of intention. Okay? Because there is a nature of feeling inside of that karmic formation. Now, let's take a look at what is Sankhara, what is Abhisankhara. That's a crucial thing to distinguish. Okay, what is Sankhara? I think I talked about Sankhara in a previous video. In that I explained to you that Sankhara has a couple aspects. The first aspect is the Sankhara, which comes under the Paṭisamuppada as the second condition, avijja paccaya sankhara. In that we talked about Sankhara in the Paṭisamuppada means Kaya Sankhara, Vaci Sankhara, and Chitta Sankhara. Right? So Kaya Sankhara basically means asasa passasa, in and out breaths, and Vaci Sankhara simply means vitakka and vichara, which means applied thought and evaluation or gliding, and Chitta Sankhara means sanya and vedana, perception and feelings. So this is what we call Sankhara, which is the first type of aspect under the Buddhist teaching. So Sankhara, which comes under the Paṭisamuppada, means Kaya, Vaci, Chitta Sankharas. And the second aspect of Sankhara comes in the five aggregate concept. There is Sankhara, Rupa, Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara, Viññāna. In that we see that we all are compositions of five aggregates. In that you see one element is aggregate is Sankhara. Another aspect of Sankhara is this generic perspective of Sankhara, which Buddha says, Vaya Dhamma Sankhara Appamadena Sampadeta, which means that everything is conditioned except Nibbana. So we all are conditioned, right? We are conditioned by something else, and that something else is conditioned by something else, right? So everything is conditioned. So there are three aspects of Sankhara. Now you normally understand what is a Sankhara. But what is Abhisankhara? Abhisankhara means the result of Sankhara. Now, for example, it clearly mentions in the couple suttas. These are the suttas that we can see, Abhisankhara in particular. Kukkuravatiya Sutta, which appears in the Majjhima Nikaya, number 57. Parivīmaṅsana Sutta, Samyutta Nikaya 12.51, which I will be talking to, prove and then to discuss more details about this particular sutta, about Abhisaṅkhāra. And Kajjani Sutta, Samyutta Nikaya 22.79. So all these suttas deal with Abhisaṅkhāra in their own way. So generally speaking, Abhisaṅkhāra means karmic formations. Sankhara means formations. But the difference, the subtle difference between Sankhara and Abhisankhara can be given this way. Let's say I am taking my breaths, so I'm breathing in, I'm breathing out, and I'm when I talk, what will happen to my speech, right? So we know that when we talk, basically what will happen is that we'll start with vitakka, and then what happened, vitakka is supported by vichara, which means then we break out into speech. So vitakka, vichara, the other part of sankharas which come under vachi. So basically what we have to understand is that then sanya and vedana, perception and feelings. All these sankharas, they can be either meritorious or demeritorious or imperturbable, which means arupavachara type of sankhara, which means when you fabricate your formations, they will become karmically formations or karmic formations. It could be either a punyabhisankhara or apunyabhisankhara or anijabhisankhara. Now let's say I am breathing in, but my breathing in has a part of defilement or influxes or cankers or taints. Then what will happen? The moment that I defile, that I taint my breathing in part, then what happens? I am creating an apunyabhisankhara through my sankharas. For instance, I would take vachi sankhara when it comes to the verbal part, vitakka and vichara. I can talk good words or I can talk bad words. So when I talk good words, I'm making meritorious abhisankharas. When I talk bad words, I'm creating demeritorious bad words. So that means apunyabhisankhara. When it comes to Chitta Saṅkhāra, as I told you, Chitta Saṅkhāra means sanya and vedana, which means perceptions and feelings. It clearly says that when you misperceive something, then what happens? You are defiling your sankharas, which means you are creating apunyabhisankhara. What if you are creating a correct, true perception about something? Let's say you are not perceiving, wrongly, incorrectly. That means you are making a punyabhisankhara. So when it comes to anijabhisankharas are the sankharas that are normally formed by individuals who are born in the arupavachara worlds. So normally what we understand is that punyabhisankharas are formed by people in the human world and rupavachara worlds. Apunyabhisankharas are made by only humans and other, people, right? I would say heavens. But anijabhisankharas are only executed by arupavachara, noble people, right? So what we have to understand when it comes to, Abhisankhara is that Abhisankhara is a result of Sankhara. So when you are defiling your Sankharas, either Kaya Sankhara or a Vachi Sankhara or a Chitta Sankhara, you are creating Abhisankharas. Let me make it more clear, right? Now the word called Sankhara, we see Sankhara as a plural word. See Sankhara. Now in here, Avijja Pacchaya Sankhara in this context too. So what we understand from the suttas is that all three sankharas can arise at the same moment. Let's say Kaya Sankhara, Vachi Sankhara, or Mano Sankhara, which we call Asasa Passasa, in-breath or out-breath, right? In-breath, let's say in-breath, out-breath, they are the inclusions of Kaya Saṅkhāra. Vitakka Vichara, they are the inclusions of Vaci Saṅkhāra. Sanya Vedana, they are the inclusions of Chitta Saṅkhāra. They all arise at the same moment. But we have to understand, Abhisaṅkhāras, Punyabhisaṅkhāras, Apunyabhisaṅkhāras, Anindabhisaṅkhāras, they do not arise at the same time, in the same moment. Which means there's a clear difference, right? Because they are the results of Saṅkhāras. Let's say when you are creating a good Saṅkhāra, which means Punyabhisaṅkhāra, you need to prevent your Saṅkhāra, stuck in getting stuck, in the wrong things, bad things. Then it will be a Punyabhisaṅkhāra. And what about when you are creating defilements through Saṅkhāras, then you are creating Apunyabhisaṅkhāras. For those individuals who are born in the Arupavachara worlds, they are creating Anindabhisaṅkhāras. We call them imperturbable, Abhisaṅkhāras. Okay. Now, the other thing I want to share with you is that this word called Abhi. So Abhi is normally translated as preponderance. So in the sense of preponderance. So when you create Saṅkhāras, either good, bad, or neither good or bad, then what will happen? There is a preponderance of formations. So this preponderance of formations are called Abhisaṅkhāras, because of the creation, constructions of the normal Saṅkhāras, you are forming Abhisaṅkhāras. Now see what will happen to us. Whenever I do a good thing, it will form an Abhisaṅkhāra. It will form a Punyabhisaṅkhāra. Whenever I do a bad thing, I will create a Apunyabhisaṅkhāra. So the rest, the third one doesn't apply to me because I'm not in the Arupavachara world. So which means even I do a good thing, even I do a bad thing, what will happen is that it will take me into the Saṅsāra. So this is why the Buddha said, doing good things is good, but you should not take it to Saṅsāra. Use that ability to understand the wisdom, what you call panya, so that you attain Nibbana. Otherwise, you are taking the good things into Saṅsāra, and we never know what will happen to us, because we can't trust karmas. Karmas are really bizarre, very confused. We should never trust karmas, but we should do good karmas. That's what we call, we do good things with saddha, but we should never take a chance with karmas. So karmas are really, they are really unpredictable. We don't have a good idea about it. Even when you, read throughout the Tipitaka or any sutta or Abhidhamma, the nature of karma, what you understand from the text is that the nature of karma is non-linear. Because karma is non-linear, because karma doesn't have a linear process, so which means when you do this thing, you will definitely get this one, right? You may get, you may not get it, right? So Abhisaṅkhāra, in the word called Abhisaṅkhāra, which is called Karmic Formation, which happen through the process of Saṅkhāra, through the use of Saṅkhāra in a good way or a bad way. The prefix called Abhi means preponderance. So whenever you do a Saṅkhāra, what you create is a preponderance. Preponderance which means it creates multiple things for the future, which means it creates sort of like things for the Saṅsāra. That is what we understand by Abhisaṅkhāra. And we also need to understand that only the Chetana, volitions, that which accompany Kusala Chitta and Akusala Chitta can be Abhisaṅkhāra. Now, in the Abhidhamma we know there are other Chittas, right? Vipaka Chittas and Kiriya Chittas. They don't create Abhisaṅkhāras, right? So they don't create, because only Punya Abhisankhara, Punya Abhisankhara are the Abhisankharas, right? So the rest cannot be applied to Abhisankhara. Rest won't create Abhisankharas. Only good things and bad things through Sankhara will become Abhisankhara. And when we take a closer look at the Abhidhammic interpretations, we know that what basically meant by Punya Abhisankhara is that 8 Mahakusala Chittas and 5 Rupavachara, Kusala Chittas. So there are these two fundamental, Chittas that, include in the Punya Abhisankhara. So all the Kusala things that we do as humans, they fall into 8 Mahakusala Chittas, and all the good things that the beings in the Rupavachara worlds do, they come under 5 Rupavachara Kusala Chittas. Then what is Apunya Abhisankharas? Apunya Abhisankharas are bad Sankharas, right? Pretty much bad, so which you will compensate for them. So they are pretty much, referred to the 12 Akusala Chittas, which we did in our, Abhidhamma series, 12 Akusala Chittas. Out of the 12, we know 8 Lobha Chittas and 2 Dosa Chittas and 2 Moha Chittas. So most of the Akusala Chittas come out of Lobha, greed, right? So because Dosa is mostly a result from Lobha, because Lobha is what we all, because even Mana is a Lobha, right? So which is something interesting. And Aninja Abhisankhara means the 4 Arupavachara Kusala Chittas, which we see in the interpretation, delineation of the Chittas. Okay. And now we have come to a point to talk about the Sutta. Back again, the Sutta, Natumha Sutta. Now, in the first line, we have to understand, we have to read this way: Nayang bhikkhave kayo tumhakang napi anyesam. The body is not, yours. Body doesn't belong to other people. Then, do we have to understand this body is a result from all comers? No. Then there might be an idea that someone can, delineate through an eternal perspective, which we call eternalism, Sasatavada. Buddha says no. Our bodies do not arise from all comers, but our bodies arise because of the conditionality of the karmas we did in the past lives, especially the Abhisankharas we did in the past life. So those Abhisankharas are also continuously being formed through Abhisankhara. So you can't pinpoint, you can't single out, this is the particular thing, this is the particular karma that I did to become so. Because Buddha says, if you single out that, if you can single out that, which means you are trying to say that these karmas are independent. Buddha says, no, none of the karmas are independent. They are mutually dependable, which means there is conditionality which affects to the all karmas. So you can't say I was born because I did that. The Buddha says no, because of that all karma, if you really know, then there is something else arose. But in reality, what we have to understand is that not because of that particular karma, because of the vipaka, result of that particular karma, there was it conditioned this particular thing, this life. So conditionality is what keeps going all these things, phenomena in our life. So when the Buddha says that this body is not yours, no, it does belong to other people, then we can take. Buddha never advises us to take that body arose because of the old karmas. And we have to clearly understand, Nayang bhikkhave kayo tumhaka. which means, let me make it clear for you. This body doesn't belong to you. Napi anyesa, to anyone else. Puranamidang bhikkave kammang, which means all deeds, all karma. Abhisankatang abhisanchetaitam vedaitam dattamma. So all karmas that were karmically formed through the support of intention. So that means those all karmas are not, independent. They are mutually, dependent on other things. Which means when you think about your past lives, or when you think about your next life, you can't single out, this is the particular karma that I think that which made me to be born here, and this is the particular karma that I will be able to obtain a good life in the next existence. Buddha says it is not singling out one karma, but it is the conditionality between the karma and the vipaka that keeps going all the time. So Dhamma folks don't take karma made you this, rather take the conditionality between the karma and the vipaka made us like this, and it is always changing, and it continuously changes in the future. And okay, so then we need to move on to a sutta called Parivimansana. Parivimansana sutta is very interesting because it clearly gives us an understanding about how we need to understand Abhisaṅkhāra in a profound way, in a deeper way. So this is appeared in the Samyutta Nikaya 12.57, because I'm not picking Kukuravatiya and Kajjani Suttas for today because it gets lengthened. So I'm only choosing Parivimansana Sutta. You should read that sutta, because that sutta clearly indicates how we need to understand Abhisaṅkhāra in a more profound way. Let me go there. Parivimansana Sutta. Parivimansana means, Vimansana means investigation. Parivimansana means true investigation. So in this sutta, Buddha clearly informs us that how we need to understand dukkha. And in that analysis, Buddha has clearly indicated about Abhisaṅkhāra. Let me read that part. And there is also Paṭisota theory, so that we'll see that much clearly. Okay. Avijja gatoyang bhikkave purisa puggalo punyang che sankharang abhisankharoti punyopagang hoti viññānam apunyang che sankharang abhisankharoti apunyogang hoti viññānam anenjang che sankharang abhisankharoti anenju pagang hoti viññānam. What does it mean? Monks, if a person immersed in ignorance, stuck in ignorance, generates a meritorious volitional formation, punya abhisaṅkhāra. So let's say, now this is very interesting. Now, even when you think about, when you do a good thing, that clearly says that you are stuck in the samsara. Because you are in the samsara, you are doing good things, right? Now, we know that the popular idea is that people do bad things because they are ignorant, right? But this sutta says we do good things because of ignorance as well, right? Because we are immersed in ignorance, we generate meritorious volitional formations. That's what it says. Avijja gatoyang bhikkave purisa puggalo. Avijja gatoyang, which means someone who is immersed in ignorance. That particular person, punyang te sankharang abhisankharu. So, he or she is executing a good thing so that it comes under kaya sankhara, vaci sankhara, mano sankhara, so that those sankharas are being processed as a punya abhisankhara. that which means meritorious karmic formation. In the same way, apunyang che sankharang abhisankharoti apunyo pagang hoti viññāna. What does it mean? Now, for example, I didn't explain the second part. Punyo pagang hoti viññāna, which means bhikkhu monks, if a person immersed in ignorance generates a meritorious karmic formation, consciousness fares on to the meritorious. Okay, what happens is that when you do a good thing, the consciousness is able to fare on that particular punya abhisankhara. Even you do a good thing or a bad thing, at both times, consciousness can involve. Right? And apunyang che sankharang abhisankharoti apunyo pagang hoti viññāna. The opposite. If he or she generates a demeritorious karmic formation, consciousness fares on to the demeritorious, which is pretty clear. Also, if she generates an imperturbable volitional formation, karmic formation, anija abhisankhara, consciousness fares on to the imperturbable, which means aninjang che sankharang abhisankharoti aninju pagang hoti viññāna. Now it's pretty clear, not even the bad sankharas, not even the bad kaya sankharas, not even the bad vachi sankhara, not even the bad mano sankhara, chitta sankharas take us to samsara, but also good kaya sankharas, good vachi sankharas, good mano sankharas also take us to the samsara, because there is this preponderance of becoming because of sankhara. Not even that. Yatoko bhikkhave bhikkhuno avijja pahina hoti vijja uppanna. Okay? But when a monk or somebody has abandoned ignorance and aroused true knowledge. So knowledge in Buddhism means true knowledge, which means vijja, knowing these changes, these analysis, right? So avijja viraga vijjuppada neva punya abhisankharang abhisankharoti. So whenever you come to this true knowledge, you will not create even the good sankharas, even the punya abhisankharas. You don't want to do punya abhisankharas because punya abhisankhara also takes you to samsara, which is not necessary for us to travel back to samsara, right? So Buddha says, yato ko bhikkave bhikkhuno avijja pahina hoti vijja uppanna. So avijja viraga vijjupada neva punya abhisankharang abhisankharoti. So whenever you understand this process of how sankharas transform into abhisankharas, because we are constructing good and bad sankharas, then you will have the true knowledge, and at that point you won't make any punya abhisankharas or apunya abhisankharas any longer. Now punya abhisankharang abhisankharoti. Now aninja abhisankharang abhisankharoti. So what we have to understand here, even the people in the human world, even the individuals, devas in the heavens, even the noble people in the arupavachara worlds, they all are still creating abhisankharas, true sankharas, right? They are still creating either punya abhisankhara applies to heavens, human world, and apayas, as well as rupavachara world, and apunya abhisankhara, not apayas, basically rupavachara world, rupavachara worlds, human world, and heavens, and apunya abhisankharas are specifically constructed by humans and devas in the heavens, and as well as the people in the apayas. And aninja abhisankharas are only performed, executed by the arupavachara noble beings. And then what does Buddha advise? Yatoko bhikkave bhikkhuno avijja pahina hoti vijja uppanna. So avijja viraga vijjupada. So at that point, in that person, there is this true knowledge arises. Neva punya abhisankharang abhisankharoti. As I told you a few minutes ago, at that point, we are not even supposed to create good or bad sankharas as well, because they will take us to samsara back, samsaric recycle. Now, apunya abhisankharang abhisankharoti. Now, anija abhisankharang abhisankharoti. Anabhisankharonto anabhisanchetayanto na kinchi loke upadiyati. This is very interesting. This is the place we all are aiming at. What does it say? Anabhisankharonto. Okay, with the fading away of ignorance and arising true knowledge, she does not generate a meritorious or demeritorious or imperturbable karmic formation at that point, right? So because these three karmic formations take us back to samsara, right? So they are really, I would say, they are really not good things. They are really dangerous things to practice, okay? And then, na kinchi loke upadiyati. She does not cling to anything in the world. Now, what has happened to us? We cling to many things, which means Abhisankhara and Upadana has a direct connection, which means when you karmically form your Sankharas, what will happen next is that you are clinging to things. So we have to understand that should we cling to things through Abhisankharas, or should we not construct our Sankharas into formations, into karmic formations? Not even that. Anupadiyang na paritasati. Anupadiyang na paritasati. She is not agitated. Now, there is no fear, no agitation, because we are not clinging to things, not attaching. We are not clinging to things. We are not constructing, we are not transforming our Sankharas into karmic formations, right? Aparitasang pachattang eva paranibbayati. Okay, at that point what happens is she personally attains Nibbana. This is the place we are aiming at. So going beyond Abhisankharas, so sort of exceeding, overcoming Abhisankharas, and then we will be able to attain the Nibbana. And once we attain the Nibbana, this is the stock passage we know in many suttas. Kina jati, destroyed is birth. Vusitang brahmacharyang, the holy life has been lived. Katang karaniyang, what had to be done has been done. Na parang ittattayati pajana, there is no more for this state of being. Now this is the stock thing, expressions which is made by many noble individuals when they attain the Nibbana. I want to tell you something else here, which is interesting. Now, a lot of people think that Brahmacharya, so Brahmacharya means the highest living. They all, apply Brahmacharya to sexual life. Yes, there is a sort of, celibacy with regard to Brahmacharya. But when it comes to the Buddha's philosophic teachings, what we understand, even in here, Brahmacharya to the Buddha is understanding avijja and the rest of the components of Patisamuppada, and then cutting the Abhisankharas and attaining the Nibbana. So this is the Brahmacharya in the philosophic Buddhism. In the social Buddhism, we know the celibate life is Brahmacharya. So in the philosophic Buddhism, Brahmacharya is not the celibate life, because people in the lay life, those lay people who attain Sotapanna, they may have still spent a life with a partner, like when it comes to Nakula Mata, Nakula Pita, Visakha, and all these individuals, they having their lay life as usual, so which is not celibate. So that is why we have to understand Brahmacharya in its deeper meaning means not just the celibate life. Brahmacharya means specifically understanding this true knowledge about Paṭisamuppada and Abhisaṅkhāras, and all that. So that is a new interpretation that I want to share with you. Okay? Not even that. We also talked about the word called Karmic Formation. In the Sutta itself, it says choices. So choices means Abhisaṅkhāras, because you made those choices in your past lives. And we also talked about Chetana part, which means volitions, supported by volitions. And also we talked about the feeling part. Because whenever you are making karmic formations through handling Sankharas, what that particular process brings at the end is that you will compensate for the Abhisaṅkhāras or karmic formations or whatever choices at a later time with feelings. Okay, so let's say this feeling is not a feeling that you see in the 5 aggregates by Vedana. This feeling is the nature of each Abhisaṅkhāra. Let's take a look at how it is mentioned, how it is interpreted here. So, Sukham che Vedanang Vediyati sa anicchati pajanati, anajjositani pajanati, anajjositati pajanati, anabhinanditati pajanati, dukkham che Vedanang Vediyati sa anicchati pajanati, anajjositati pajanati, anabhinanditati pajanati, adukka masukham che Vedanang Vediyati sa anicchati pajanati, anajjositati pajanati, anabhinanditati pajanati. Very interesting. When you attain the Nibbana, this is how you will look at Vedana. Now, we have to take the opposite to understand how the normal folks like us feel these 3 types of feeling. Pleasant feeling called Sukha Vedana, unpleasant feel called by Dukkha Vedana, and neither pleasant nor painful feeling is called Adukkhama Sukha Vedana. So let's take a look at how someone who has attained the Nibbana, true cutting all Abhisaṅkharas, get to think about the 3 types of Vedanas. So, Sukham che Vedanang Vediti sa anicchati pajanati. This is what we always forget, right? If he feels a pleasant feeling, he understands it's impermanent. How many of us think that pleasant feelings are impermanent? We never understand. That's a big problem to us, right? Whenever we don't understand, okay, I'm sitting comfortably, I'm eating something, I'm living in a good place, I have XYZ people, I have good education, I have a good job, I have, I have children, I have a spouse, and all this mentality. Who is going to think that this pleasant feeling is impermanent? And each time when they think about it, I would say even after think about it, right? Or after feeling about it, right? So an Arahant, someone who has attained Nibbana, true cutting of Abhisaṅkhāra, deals with a pleasant feeling primarily with anicca, impermanence. Not even that. Sa anicchati pajanati. Anajjositati pajanati. Second, after thinking that the pleasant feeling is impermanent, the Arahant thinks that it is not held to. Now we hold on to the feelings, right? Normally, we hold on to the pleasant feeling. Let's say, okay, this is my happy feeling, for instance. Then I want to hold on to it. I want to continue spending in this moment, continue spending with this particular feeling, particular mood, particular happiness. But Arahants, they never hold on to pleasant feeling. Now they primarily regards the pleasant feeling as impermanent, as being impermanent. Second, they never hold on to the pleasant feeling. Third, anabhinanditati pajanati. Not even an arahant holds on to a pleasant feeling, but also arahant is not delighted in the pleasant feeling. Delight is a problem too when it comes to Vedana, right? In the same way, arahants thinks about the painful feeling. If he feels a painful feeling, she understands it's impermanent. He understands it is not held to. He understands it is not delighted in. Now think about whenever we are dealing with painful feelings, have we ever thought about this painful feeling is impermanent? Have we ever thought about that we should not hold on to the painful feeling? I'm remorseful, I'm regretful, what happened to me today? I was really good yesterday, and these people were treating me really good in the past few months, but today what happened? What did they do to me, right? So they are not holding on to the painful feeling. They are just looking at it, right? And also the arahants, they are not delighted in the painful, because we are sometimes bad people, when they do bad things, they delight in the bad thing, right? So also when he feels neither painful nor pleasant feeling, she understands it is impermanent, it is not held to, it is not delighted. So this is the best way to cut Abhisaṅkhāra, even when we are not arahants, because we know that we have to treat every feeling through anicca, through not holding on to that, plus not delighting in. So this is the best way to cut our Abhisaṅkhāra. And then Buddha talks about there is this kind of thing that will appear in the mind of an arahant. Now, sayyatapi. So kaya pariyantikang vedanang vediyamano, kaya pariyantikang vedanang vediyamiti pajanati. Which means when he feels a feeling terminating with the body, let's say when an arahant is going to die, even we're going to die one day, she understands, I feel a feeling terminating with the body. That's it. I'm not trying to compare it with previous feelings. I was really good yesterday, but I'm going to die now, so why I want to compare it? Arahants never compare even the terminating feelings. When he feels a feeling terminating with life, he understands, I feel a feeling terminating with life. He understands, with the break of this body, following the dissolution of life, all that is felt, not being delighted in, will become cool right here. Merely body remains, will be left. So the body will become cool right here because the consciousness has no way to go ahead. And Buddha gives us as a sort of a simile to understand this coolness of what happens to an arahant when somebody cut Abhisaṅkhāra and attain Nibbana, and that coolness is like this. Sayyatapi bhikkhave puriso kumbhakara paka unhang kumbhang uddharitva same bhumi bhage pativiseyi. Suppose, monks, a man would remove a hot clay pot from a potter's clay and set it on smooth ground. Right? So the hot clay pot is now positioned on a clean, and then what happens is that he set it on the smooth ground. And then tatra yayam usma sa tatheva upasame. Now what happens to that heat when he set it on the smooth ground? Its heat would be dissipated right there, and pot sherds would be left, right? Kapallani avasseyum. Evameva ko bhikkave bhikkhu kaya pariyantikang vedanang vediyamano, kaya pariyantikang vedanang vediyamiti pajanati. Jivita pariyantikang vedanang vediyamano, jivita pariyantikang vedanang vediyamiti pajanati. Kayasa bheda uddang jivita pariyadana idheva sabba vedaitani anabhinanditati siti bhavisati sarirani avasissanti iti pajanati. It's pretty clear. And the Buddha compares that setting the hot clay pot on the smooth ground to the way how an arahant deals with the feelings, how he is comparing that. So too, when he feels a feeling terminating with the body, terminating with life, he understands with the breakup of the body, following the dissolution of life, all that is felt, not being delighted in, will become cool right here. Mere bodily remains will be left. What do you think, monks? Can a bhikkhu, monk, whose taints are destroyed, generate punya abhisankhara, apunya abhisankhara, anindya abhisankhara? So we have to destroy, abhisankharas. Abhisankharas take us back into samsara. Now, when you go back to avijja is mutually conditioned by influxes, which are called asavas. There are 4 types of asavas. Influxes regarding sensual pleasures, kamasava. Influxes regarding existence, called bhavasava. Influxes regarding views, called ditthasava, kamasava, bhavasava, ditthasava, and avijjasava. Influxes regarding ignorance. So these 4 influxes condition avijja, and reversely, avijja conditions these 4. That is why there will be abhisankharas. So now we understand the cause of abhisankharas and what is abhisankhara, what will happen after we stop creating abhisankharas. And abhisankharas will arise when you transform, when you construct sankharas, normal sankharas, right? Kaya, vaci, mano sankharas. Okay, so to recap what I've been talking, I would like to say that this body is not, this body does not belong to us, nor to others. This body was arisen as a conditional relationship with the past karma. So you can't single out that the past karma created this, but the conditionality created this body, because you created sankharas, you constructed sankharas into abhisankharas. That's why this life has been coming this way, this long way. So let's try to deal with our normal sankharas, kaya sankhara, vaci, mano sankhara, which means asasa, pasasa, in breath and out breath, kaya sankharas. Vaci sankhara means vitaka vicharas, applied thought and sustained thought of evaluation. And Chitta Sankhara means sanya vedana, perceptions and feelings. Let's take care of these sankharas without creating more abhisankharas, punya, apunya, anindya. And then we'll find out our way from the sankhara, from the samsara. Okay, so let's share all the good karmas and wrap this up. May all the good karmas we've been accumulating so far be shared by all the departed relatives who passed away in the name of all of us. May they be happy and peaceful. May they attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Idam me ñāti nang huntu sukhita huntu ñāteyo. Idam me ñāti nang huntu sukhita huntu ñāteyo. Idam me ñāti nang huntu sukhita huntu ñāteyo. Also, let's share all the good karmas with the devas and nagas who protect all of us. May all the nagas and devas share in all these good karmas, and may they also attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Ettavata cha ammehi sambatang punya sampadang sabbe deva anumodantu sabbe bhuta anumodantu sabbe satta anumodantu sabba sampatti sindhya Akasattha chibummattha deva naga mahittika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakkhang lokasasanang chirang rakkhang desanang chirang rakkhang tumang paranti. Finally, let's make a great wish. May all the good karmas we've been accumulating so far be helpful for all of us to attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana, the end of Abhisaṅkhāras. That's the purpose of today's talk. I'm gonna bless you with a couple more stanzas. Please receive the blessings as well. Abhivadana silis nichang vadha pachayino chattaru dhamma vadhanti ayuvannu sukhang balang ayurarogya sampatti sangha sampatti mevacha ato nibbana sampatti iminati samijatu. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, have a good night, and for those who are joining from Asia, have a good day ahead of you. Be safe.